So this is the Economic Development Commission meeting of St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2026, and it's 4 p.m. And we're in person at City Hall in the McCloskey Conference Room, and the meeting has been appropriatly posted and noticed. Correct, Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See you.
Okay.
Good to see
Lisa, how are you?
Hello.
And
We really should have.
we have 4 out of our 5 members here.
Come on.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we
We
go.
should do something.
That's right.
Yeah.
So why don't we go around and do a roll call? I'm Kurt Zorn.
I'm Liz Feidel.
I'm Isak Asari. Tim Hankey.
Jane Cooper-Smith, staff.
D. Roll call.
Del Rosa, staff.
Great. And we have minutes from, I think it's the October 24th. I'm sorry, 21st meeting. Any comments, corrections, changes?
I didn't see anything.
If not,
I
can we
will
get...
move approval.
Yeah.
Second.
I'd like to discuss it real fast.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a question for Jane.
Why don't we get a second first and then we'll
Second.
discuss it. There we go.
Thanks. I'm
Sorry.
just curious about the format. It seemed different.
Of the minutes.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of commissioners said this or commissioners thought that.
Oh, you know what? We have a new intern taking, right? Dee, do you think that's related to having a new person?
No, that conversation was really dense, and because we don't do this often, I wanted to make sure that the minutes were pretty detailed, because I thought there was some good information in there. I mean, normally I don't usually do that much depth, but it was something that I think that we can refer to later, looking back on this. So I thought that it was useful. I can make sure to not do that if you'd like.
I'm not being critical, it's just different than what I'm used to. That's all.
Sure.
Yeah, very informative.
Yeah.
So we've got a motion and a second. Any more comments? If not,
Can I ask one other question?
yeah, please.
So Dee, do you think that it'll return to more summary? So with the minute, Dee and I have actually talked about this a bunch, but the minutes can be in the form of a memo summarizing, or they can be at this level of detail. So I guess, yeah, Isak.
I like them like this.
All
I
right.
like the detail myself.
Particularly because we haven't met in a long time, so I think like
Refreshes kind of.
Well, yes, and it's I think really helpful when we're talking about substantive things. I think there's a time when you want to just be like, okay, they talked and they moved on, but like we have like substantive, though we didn't make a whole lot of decisions. Like it was helpful because we had substantive briefings and discussions on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really helpful to have that trail to be able to see,
Yeah.
Kurt said something wise,
Everybody was astounded. They were shocked.
That might be a little too much detail.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right. Well, I think Dee and Jane will take that
Yeah.
into consideration as they do minutes going forward. Any other comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes yeah. It's easy for me to say. Passes unanimously. And then we have new business, which is election of officers.
I would like to propose that Kurt Zorn be elected our president.
Just in case I say something profound.
And why?
I think you're doing a great job,
Yeah.
and we would like you to maintain doing a great job. I think there's people in the waiting room also.
Oh gosh.
But I think that
I'm having
unless
mouse
somebody's like, wow, I really want to do
No,
this.
I'm all in favor of Kurt Zorn.
We appreciate your
Oh,
leadership.
there's
Vanessa's here.
Vanessa.
Good.
Vanessa.
Goodness.
Well, let's wait for a second till Vanessa.
Everyone's AI versions of themselves are here too.
So, Vanessa, I noticed you have joined.
Yes, I have. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
Vanessa.
We already did approval of minutes. We're on new business election of officers. And Isak was just starting, so.
We had just made you president, Vanessa.
Congratulations.
I know that is not a true statement. I can't go with confidence.
Yeah, I think Kurt, you've done such an awesome job at leading this commission, and I think work so closely with EDC already. I think it just makes a lot of sense.
I'll second.
Well, there's a motion and a second then.
Do we want to do a whole slate or just want
Let's,
do it one at a time?
I mean,
I'm fine with it either way.
Tim, you want to be vice president?
I would like to continue the slate that we have. We've just barely got any momentum.
That's
I'll
right.
second that.
What was
Thank
the slate?
Jane, would you explain?
Well,
I
Don't
think
ask me.
right now I need to be in person at the next meeting because I can see you're out of control.
That's right. We need you here.
I'm pretty sure that Vanessa is,
Vice.
Vice President.
yeah.
Is Vanessa vice? Good.
No, I was secretary.
Here, I'm
Wasn't
going
I
back to
secretary
Yeah, I
like
feel like
before?
I think I'm vice.
Well, you guys, we're really making
This is
ourselves.
some
Here we
serious
go.
stuff.
Yeah, here we go.
This detail might be nice to have recorded somewhere.
Exactly.
I think we did from last year.
Sorry, I'm just having trouble putting my hands on minutes. Dee, can you look that up in the February on-board minutes for EDC? The slate of officers?
I'm actually looking for it right now, it's just my computer's running a little slow, so
Oh.
I will get that.
Well, we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, to keep the slate as it is,
Yeah.
whatever that slate is.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, we second.
Yeah.
So motion and a second.
Well, any discussion?
The officers have done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I do think something we should consider, and I know, like all jokes aside, one of the things that we've been trying to think about is how do we better use the EDC as a proactive
Right.
advisory body, and so, I don't think any of us care what we're called, but none of us here, but I do think that should be the sort of charge here, is saying, let's move beyond having lovely meetings every so often.
It seems silly to change officers when we really haven't done anything
Exactly.
since the last election,
Okay.
except for the bare minimum.
Jane?
That might be a nice moment to describe what Kurt and I had talked about for this year was a little bit of a different rhythm, but maybe that's for a different subject or a different item on the agenda. Oh no, not the new chairs.
They happen all the time. They can't sustain.
Well, we have a motion on the floor and a second, and
We're having
any discussion
Yeah.
about the slate? And then we can move to yours, Jane,
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor?
He has her hand up. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Vanessa's got a thumbs up.
So
Okay.
just so you know what you guys signed up for, it's Kurt Isak as vice president and Vanessa as
Yeah.
secretary.
Okay, great. Isak didn't have enough to do, so we just figured he'd yeah.
Yeah,
Look how happy
give
he
me
is.
actually something to do on this would be great.
All right, so old business, Jane, you wanted to talk a little bit about what,
Well, this agenda.
this is new business, probably.
Yeah, I put this agenda together not
Probably should've
realizing
done
it doesn't have
We should have done old business first and new business second, I think, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Good job, Prez.
We can flip that
I didn't catch it
around.
until right now, but.
Well, I wanted to give you guys a little, it's almost like a staff report, if I could just update you on a
Yeah.
few different
Mhm.
goings on. And then one of those items is that Kurt and I don't know if you still feel favorably toward this, but we talked a little bit about the meeting cadence in the last year and how the EDC doesn't have business all the time, and it's kind of random when we do have business, it's just not predictable. We wondered about retaining our monthly meeting times in case we have business come up, but having substantive meetings quarterly where we are focused on digging into a little bit more substantive issues. We can do it that way, or we can just keep going meeting by month, meeting by meeting, as we have been. But we just sort of wondered about that.
So what is the is there anything officially written about when the commission is supposed to meet?
I don't believe so.
No?
I mean, I've been on the commission for a number of years, and there have been years we've met only once.
Because we're not a regulatory body, right? So like we don't have to meet.
No, but there may be something that is posted somewhere
In
to
the
talk about
ordinance or
how
something.
often you meet.
Yeah.
I'll have legal
I'll
do
check real quick.
a review
Yeah.
to see.
I think as long as there's nothing
Right.
in conflict with what we're supposed to be doing, I think
Yeah.
it's fine.
But I would recommend that you all keep the monthly appointments on your calendar.
Right.
Yes,
In case we have something urgent.
because you want to be nimble if something comes up. You
Yeah.
wanna say you have to wait until the quarterly meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Okay, well, that's that. So just, there are a few
Yeah,
items.
It really wouldn't change an awful lot, because right now Jane or Dee say, they usually text me and say, we have something for the meeting, or we don't have some, if we don't have something for the meeting, is it all right to cancel? And I say yes, so we'll still do the same thing. We'll still send a notice out saying, we're not
Exactly.
gonna be meeting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we will meet on those quarterly.
Can we establish what those quarterly months are?
We certainly can do that.
Yeah,
part of the
I mean,
day.
my goal was to have us meet January, the first month of each quarter. But then, I can't remember what happened in January and February, but
We had a storm.
I think we had a storm, and then I had to get out
And
of
then-
town
then
kind of
you weren't
urgently.
available in February.
Mhm.
I think that's the case.
So now we're meeting in March, so we could do the third month, but we'll always really
Well, we
want to do
could
the
still do
organized.
January, and we could just skip April because we're having this March meeting.
Yeah, and then we'll have
Of course, it's
tax
July, a good
abatement.
month.
We'll have
so,
tax abatement reporting
in June,
in June,
right?
so maybe the plan is folly.
I'm lost when we're meeting. Can somebody?
No, we're just,
recap this for me?
we're thinking, we're talking out
Okay.
loud,
Okay, fine.
kind of thinking out
Yeah.
loud.
Really quick, so for, second quarter, the best would be the end of May, because, tax abatement presentation to the council is June 10th. So we would need to meet in May,
Okay.
because it needs to be reviewed by the EDC before it goes to council.
And the EDC meets on May 19th. So keep that May meeting.
Keep that May.
Does that mean that quarterly doesn't really work for us? Is that what
I
we're
think
looking
so.
at?
No, because we really ought to meet in January to organize.
To organize.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll just have once or twice a year with staff's help, almost like retreat meeting where we're talking bigger.
Big
picture.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All
And
right.
we'll figure out what works best.
Yeah.
Because a July meeting's probably not a good time to have that, because people
Right.
have a tendency to.
Mhm.
Right. Well, I still appreciate this conversation and just, I don't know.
So are we keeping April 21st as a possible?
Keep it on your calendar just in case.
We're keeping all the
As
dates
possible.
as possible,
But
We're
for sure,
definitely- we're
for
definitely
sure
gonna meet in
19th. Okay.
and maybe that's what we do. When we get to that next meeting that we know we're meeting, we decide if there's a next date to
Yeah,
have
each time we
a
could do
definite
that.
meeting,
Mhm.
regardless of what's on the
Right.
agenda.
Yeah, okay.
But you'll let us know if something comes up on the 21st, we need to meet for April.
Mhm.
Right.
We'll let you know in advance.
Just keep it on the calendar,
But you'll let us know both ways, it
Mhm.
sounds like.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
yes.
Thank you.
So just running through my list of staff things. One item I just wanted to maybe raise is that I've been attending quarterly meetings with MCCSC, their business roundtable meetings. ESOC's been there too. They're super informative, and I think there's a big opportunity to try to support MCCSC in the coming months and indefinitely. One of the ways that they're activities are shifting a little bit is with the new degree requirements and the workplace degree requirements for students. So a lot of students will be entering into internships and coming into workplaces across the community. So I'm not exactly sure how the EDC can lift that up, but I wanted to share that information. Is this news?
It is news.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I don't
So
have
where
my.
are
So I
those
can speak a
degrees?
little bit more about
Yeah.
that.
So now within Indiana there are essentially two. There's really three tracks that all students have to go through to get their diplomas. One of them is sort of built more towards the idea of them going into things like apprenticeships, and then the other is sort of the university track, if you will, and there's like an honors track within both of those. But
And there's a military track.
and the military track, yeah. So
Is that in addition to the other
I
things
think
you
it
just mentioned?
is it.
So three.
Yeah. So I think the big change is that
Where does the
regardless.
military fall into that?
Sorry, there's workforce,
Yep.
college,
Military.
military.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
The main framework though that's changing is that they all have and differing, but they all have an element of workforce within the diploma. So even people who are going to sort of, the traditional route, if you will, are still required to get some type of a job placement during their time in school, and it's differing hours depending on what that is. But I think it works out to they need to work like 10 hours a week or something like that. Like it's not an insignificant amount of time.
Would any job do it? It has to be,
Yep.
any job would do
Yep.
it.
When does it become effective? I've read about it before.
I think it is effective.
Yeah.
I think the current students have that
Okay.
requirement. Yeah.
My son is a freshman and they're the first class
Mhm.
that will graduate under the new requirements. So I think just, I don't know if that's just an FYI. We can follow up more on opportunities to support and.
Well, I think there's Dr. Winston is at the last meeting is sort of said that she's putting together this subcommittee
Oh, that was where I
with
wanted to
the
put this
with
on
the
there.
broad idea of trying to reframe what that question is to begin with. I think Jane and I have been on this committee with a lot of other people in the community for now the last, it feels like a year and a half. It started off with a question that was something like, well, how do we place all these students? Okay, that's an interesting question, but so everybody comes around and goes, I have two placements and I have three. Okay, that's great. But if you change the tact and say, how do we make this a driver of economic development and innovation, et cetera, that we actually can match pain points and gain points within the community, that's a more interesting question. And I think that's really now where she's trying to think. It's about, could we use this opportunity to meet some type of needs in the community in some sustained way? So.
And to that end, I write my notes throughout the month for what I want to share with you guys, and I didn't have these details in. So MCCSC is putting together an advisory council that will have about 40 community members. They want different types of backgrounds, different types of expertise, different types of lived experience. The council is called Strong Schools, Strong Community. There's an application available online for this, and so I think I'll just say you could Google Strong Schools, Strong Community Advisory Council, or email me at jane.coopersmith@bloomington.in.gov.
Are there enough jobs to fill all these people having jobs?
Well, it'll be addressed in a number of ways, and Regional Opportunity Initiatives with their Ready Schools program is doing a lot of work with apprenticeship activities, and there will be ways that some internships not in person will count toward the work requirement. So I think they're being very creative and also practical about how they can meet the requirements. Transportation is a huge barrier for a lot of students. So, yeah. Emergent strategy, as they say.
And what are the penalties if you can't make this happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this only for 1 year? Or is it?
These are the degree requirements now.
But your
Oh, the
son's
work
gonna have to do it
requirement?
freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior?
it looks different each year. He doesn't, for example, have a work requirement this year, so I think it's maybe more upperclassmen, weighted toward upperclassmen. But I think if a student is on the workforce track, they might have some kind of workplace requirement early on. And that could be maybe getting a certification of some kind, or, I don't know. We had a bunch of students a week ago from Hoosier Hills Career Center visit the city and visit different city facilities to learn about working here. I'm not sure if that was part of it or not. I feel like I'm way off in the weeds, but.
So this is a super interesting thing. It's 75 approved work hours is the baseline.
What kind of time period?
Over the time that they're in high school.
The whole high school?
Correct, 75
hours?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's not all that much.
Yeah, right.
But then the employment honors seal requires 150 hours, while others require 650. Which the 650 is, I assume, what do you call it, the workforce one.
Mm-hmm. And where did the 10 hours a week come in?
I was guessing.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I remembered it.
Okay. So that doesn't quite add up if you have 75 the whole time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I'm get rid of that.
Anything else on that item? Do you want to be kept apprised of that, or if there are other? I think it's just nice to bring MCCSC items to the group, I guess, when there is information to share.
So how are these things legitimized? How do you prove that you're doing this? Who do you report this to, I guess, is the question. That they're doing this, right?
The student, the workplace experiences are all managed by the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they track,
They're
something is
pre-approved.
turned into the school and they track it and all that. Okay,
exactly.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention.
I'll just make a comment.
Go ahead.
It's a nice idea conceptually. It's going to be a bear, especially to have every student do it.
Yeah, but it's a state requirement.
No, I understand that, but it's, I'm just going to say it, it's an unfunded mandate, because it's going to cause a lot of administrative work for MCCSC to track these. I know this from my experience with students who are undergraduates who have to get internships towards their undergraduate degree. And it's a huge, and we're talking about lots of students. Again, conceptually great idea, but as is the case with a number of things that the state mandates, it's probably not thought through as carefully as it needs to be. So I hope MCCSC can be creative, and it sounds like they are being creative.
But that's, I think, where the broader community comes in, where it's like, we could just approach this from the lens of, most of them will end up shadowing somebody, and that counts as their time. I think that we should be creative in creating opportunities to receive them that are meaningful,
Yeah. And that's the other point,
right?
Making sure it's meaningful.
Yeah. But meaningful also to the community, right? Obviously, it will be meaningful to the students, just by virtue of the exposure they'll get, the experience they'll get. But how do we make sure that it's meaningful to the community? We I think as a city could think about a lot of ways that maybe that's how Kirkwood is really exciting. I don't know, but you could think about a lot of different things that maybe that's how maybe they staff council's office. We need thousands of people to staff council office, for example. So but thinking about ways that you actually can create, lots of productivity, innovation, et cetera. While also, I think it also for us in the long term of our view, how do we then connect young people who have grown up here to industry here so that they think about staying here or coming back here when it's relevant.
Yeah, it's funny because I agree with both Kurt and Isak because this is a total beast for sure, and to try and implement it so quickly is just a bad decision. However, this is what we've been given, and I do think that this is a good element for recidivism. I think that this will really, if we can get small business owners, not to just think of the and the bigger companies, but like small Main Street businesses, people going from, you know, a micro enterprise or a Main Street, those people getting connected and making those, you know, apprenticeships and things like that. That's a really strong, like, emotional connection, and I think that's one of the things we're kind of missing with keeping young people here, is a strong emotional connection and having that communication, intergenerational communication as well. So, you know, this, you know, we've got to make lemonade out of the lemons that we got right now and utilize this to get kids connected to the city more. Because the boomerang is a great thing to have. It would be great if these kids are going to go off for like a year and come back and bring back all their experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I 100% see your point that this is a great opportunity for recidivism.
Next item I wanted to just give you guys a heads up on is that the opportunity zones last year were made permanent. The opportunity zone program, which is certain census tracts are eligible to be named opportunity zones. Investments within qualified opportunity funds in those opportunity zones are able to be shielded from capital gains taxes. So it's an effort from the Trump administration to continue this program that really tries to leverage private partnership in community good. So they're low income census tracts. The previous round of OZs was created in 2016 and it was a 10-year program and then it rolled off. So there was a lot of activity early on and not a lot in the second half of it because the administrative burden was so high. But now these programs are made permanent. The next step for Bloomington is to identify what the new opportunity zones will be and seek approval on those from the governor's office. So we're just in the process of doing that and are working with a state lobbying organization and with our partners at Regional Opportunity Initiatives because we want to be thinking about the region as a whole and not just Bloomington as an island. So I'm optimistic that we have some good eligible census tracts. There are some ineligible tracts that were eligible and are no longer eligible, which is unfortunate. But one of the tracts, so all of Hopewell, if we can get that approved, will be in the new one, or we'll lobby for that. And so that's one incentive that the Trump administration made permanent. They also made permanent new markets tax credits. We haven't had a lot of activity in that area in Bloomington, but I also think that could show up in Hopewell. Yeah, so mentioning those two things, and then transitioning maybe to Seminary Square for a moment and the properties surrounding it. There was a headline maybe a month ago at this point that property owners surrounding Seminary Square lobbied the assessor, and the assessor reduced the assessed value of those properties by a certain percentage. And I don't know, I don't have that math off the back of the off the cuff. But I've been thinking a lot about Seminary and that area. It comes up a lot as we're working on Hopewell development and we're looking toward the convention center development. And so I'd like to be able to at least assemble the suite of existing incentives around that area to be able to communicate about them in anticipation of some turnover starting to happen in that area or fostering that turnover. So opportunity zones would be one. We have the enterprise zone. That property falls in the enterprise zone. But I wanted to bring it up here just to kind of see if the commissioners are tracking that conversation. Last year you were really helpful when I said, hey, I'm working on these things, and you all kind of responded, well, that's nice, but focus on this stuff over here. So
I think it's bordering on blight and seem to be in our wheelhouse to try to put together some incentives to improve it. And it's well known by the community.
Yeah.
It's very visible.
Very visible.
Very visible. A lot of traffic.
Just
through
driving from my house today.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it affects all of downtown. I've heard people say that, especially in the summertime, when there's fewer students, the proportion of what you see when you drive into downtown is less favorable.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't feel like staying.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just, it's somewhat depressing, of course, because there are people that are in bad shape, down on their luck.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just having this conversation, it's not even anti the humans who are experiencing the challenges that they're experiencing and hanging out in that area. It's really looking at the business loss around the area, which is contributing to a vacuum. We just need
Absolutely.
more activity, so.
Well, I just got appointed to the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals. Had to make sure I got it correct. And Judy Sharp, the assessor, talked some about this, and it's the land value that's been reduced. And again, I don't remember the percentage either, but it was a substantial amount, because land prices are pretty high in Bloomington. So of course the assessed value becomes pretty high, which then becomes a disincentive for investment. So I think it's a good way to get started, but the incentives along with that is what's going to be needed. You need
Right.
more than just the reduction of the assessed value.
On the subject of reduced AV, do you all feel like this is something that should be considered for maybe a short abatement program or a percentage
Targeted
abatement
abatement
program?
in that
Yeah,
area.
just really targeted. I think the assessor told me we're at 52% tax exempt. 52% of our properties are tax exempt in Bloomington,
because of
which
the-
makes abatements just really a
Yeah.
difficult benefit, or difficult incentive for us to consider. However, if the property values are being reduced all by themselves and they're not being redeveloped, then I wonder if it is something.
And tax abatements reduce future taxes. They don't reduce today's taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're incentivizing something new, you're still getting more taxes than you would have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good tool to use here.
Well, who would be doing the tax abatements? I mean, who would approve those? What body?
Well,
It would be the city council. The EDC typically makes a recommendation to the city council, and then the city council has the ability to approve or deny tax abatements.
Through the county assessor's office?
Sorry,
No,
it's
no.
all, because it's a city of Bloomington property, it's all within and then we
Oh.
notify the assessor.
So we're talking about city of Bloomington property? Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Property
Yeah.
taxes,
Well-
no, not the city.
property that's in the city of Bloomington.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not city of Bloomington property?
No.
It's
It's-
City
it's-
property.
Oh, sorry.
It would be private
Bloomington.
property.
Private property within city limits.
So it's.
So
and
where
it's-
do those people pay their tax bill at?
they
Well, they
still
all
pay the
pay
county.
to the county, and then
Right.
and then the money is dispersed to the jurisdictions.
Yes.
So some of that
I'm
goes to
familiar
the
with
school.
that.
Right. No, of course.
So,
So if we have an abatement
yes.
in a piece of property in Bloomington,
Mhm.
the city proper, that basically is borne by the rest
Everybody
of
else
the
pays
taxpayers.
that.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh.
I get that.
And
And-
all the different, I think maybe what you're asking, all the different taxing elements will also be affected, because we're not just debating city taxes, but there's a state legislation that defines the entire process and what we can abate for. But if the city council approves it and goes through the process and meets those requirements, then, the library gets less money, the schools get less money, and the county gets less money, and so on. But it's pretty narrow in how it can be used, because it's, it has such a big impact.
So give me an example of a current property in the city that is abated.
We have abatements at a number of affordable housing developments.
Okay.
And then we have a number of employment-related abatements at the Novo Nordisk site. So, because they've put up such large job numbers, but we really don't have a ton of them. And then last year, we did a pilot agreement, which is a version of an abatement, where it makes the amount payable predictable.
Yes, I know what that is. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I think this just, it makes sense that these questions are coming from you, because this is why you are here. You're representing the county council because this has impact on your,
Definitely.
yeah,
Jane,
your
I would-
jurisdiction.
I would suggest that maybe we ought to have a conversation with the county assessor to see how city tax abatements might be used to achieve the same thing she's trying to do with
She might have some
reducing
ideas.
this.
She's been
She
around
may
a long
have.
time.
That's right.
I think it'd be worthwhile to review what can be abated, because, you know, it's pretty narrow. I mean, it's housing and jobs, and I don't know, I mean, it's kind of hard to target jobs especially. I mean, you have to talk to an employer into going there and hiring people, or somebody that's already there, increase their hiring.
Yeah, there's certain metrics that are usually outlaid, right?
Yeah, and housing.
Is that limited by state code?
I think so.
We have our, the state code sets the broad parameters,
And we have our
and then
particular
we have our local
guidelines.
criteria.
Local ordinance.
And our local criteria talk about affordable housing, job creation, and then I think there's a community character bucket.
Is that code, or is that policy
That's
of
an
EDC?
EDC policy.
Right. So I say that because I do think that that's worth exploring. I mean.
Yeah, and I do wonder, I thought it was an ordinance.
I don't think so. Let me check. You don't check. I'll check so you don't.
Okay.
You're
I'm
doing
just
too many
taking
things at once. Yeah, I don't think it's an
Evaluative
ordinance.
criteria are what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for us, I would love to hear what incentives could be applied to an area that we consider blighted.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could, I think, because I'm not sure that abatement could be one.
But Tim, it's a good point. See where we have right now. And if we have the flexibility, we may change it a little bit because, you know, I think of Stall Furniture, the
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
They moved to the west side because of the,
It's a really good example.
is there something we can do to retain a business there through a property tax abatement? Will the state law allow us? And then we might have to change our criteria to broaden it a little bit, to
Sure.
do some retention as opposed to just creation.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at the tools that we think we have available, let's see if they work or if they
Right.
could be,
Whether we can do some things to,
because I really don't know, other than, you know, some familiarity with abatement.
Yeah.
Also, what would be, like, I think it's a really good opportunity to think, like, the ways that people often think about, like, a redevelopment zone, right? Like, what's like a right anchor for that place, so that we also are targeted about the strategy, that it's not just, we just want some business here, but it's what do we want? And I think that's what's really nice, wrong word. I think that's the opportunity, because we're basically blank slate. I mean, there's a post office now. What else is there anymore? I mean, the Thai restaurant, I guess.
World
but
Food Smart.
World Food, yeah.
Market,
Yeah.
and
Is
they're.
Raleigh still there?
And we'll have
Support
we're
Big
about
Still there.
to have Hopewell. I mean, so there's also a thought about I mean, when you have Hopewell developing, you know, does that negate the need for sort of focused tax abatement there? Like, you know, do people gravitate toward the development already?
Anyway, yeah.
My
Okay.
perception is it's related to time,
Yeah.
and the abatement is like an accelerant for that area.
Yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, you're
yeah.
waiting for, which might be fine. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And I think on the retention piece, I just want to mention that I don't have like official news, but I just think it's really important that we retain Kroger in that location.
Yes.
Kroger,
Yes.
having a full grocery store there is
Yes.
what supports the neighborhood of Hopewell. It supports the existing neighbors, and
That was a big big neighborhood.
Yeah, so I don't know, just observing that.
Am I misinformed, but that there's some type of, like, that Kroger is like the Kroger that has the most,
That's the most something, I forget now what it was.
yeah, like the most, like it's in their national Kroger, I think that the statistic I remember being told was something like it has the most lost goods or something to that extent. Is that true?
I haven't heard that, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I just can't comment. I don't know.
Okay.
But I know that they put a lot of effort behind loss prevention.
Yeah.
Security guards hired, and they.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's, I think, a really good point that you bring up, that to look ahead and to make sure that they stay, because that would be a major, that would hit Hopewell, would hit Prospect Hill.
Yep.
It would hit the near
Yeah.
west side.
Yeah.
Yes, and the way that corporation is managing site control is not. It doesn't mean that another grocery could just come into that
Exactly.
location.
Right. Exactly.
So, okay, that's helpful. If you don't mind, I'll switch gears to another incentive that was just approved.
Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, man.
SB 89 was approved. Sorry, I don't have the title for it. Let me look it up. Oh, that's a bad website. Well, it's to expand alcohol permits. So we had some discussion last fall. I'm sorry I don't have I'm not getting a good hit on the bill text right now, but the state has issued a number of additional three-way permits for different communities across Indiana, and they've allocated 2 additional permits for Bloomington. And so I think that's validating in a way. I think it means the state understands the utility of these permits as a tool, as an economic development tool. There's specific economic development language in the legislation. And so there are a few next steps before they can be activated. There has to be qualifying, qualifications have to be identified. And Isak, I'm not sure if this is on a staff level or if council has to do it, but we have to determine who qualifies for these permits. And then there's a second step, which is entering into a commitment agreement with the recipient of those permits. So I think there are a number of layers where it will ultimately be a staff recommendation of some sort. We'll get to determine what are our priorities for these permits. These are useful tools. They're different than the ones that were discussed last fall in that these are full three-way permits. They cost $40,000 each. I don't know that they are retained as long-term assets. That's unclear to me at this time. So the current.
They revert back to the city.
They revert
assume,
back to
right?
the state, I think.
Is that right? After the person who's given it, but then the city still retains the ability to give it to
Yes,
somebody else.
exactly.
Is what I mean. Yeah.
And what I don't understand is if say a business is granted one of the three ways, they enter into the commitment agreement, but they don't meet those commitments, then the city can say, hey, ATC, we need you to enforce this. We no longer support this business having it.
Yeah.
It reverts to the state. But I don't know if that means that their $40,000 investment is gone.
Or if they get it back, they get the money back. So, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to learn about, but I just wanted to flag it. I think it's a good thing. The EDC won't have a formal role, but I just wanted to mention it since this came up for us last year.
If it's okay that I say, I mean, if it hadn't been for the fact that I was serving as council staff at the moment, my intention, and I think building off the conversation that we had that was just in our memo here, my intention was I do think it would make a lot of sense, and this is following after Valparaiso. They had a council action that sort of just said, this is how we decide any type of permits that we're going to be deciding. And I think it would be great for us to have one piece of legislation that basically says, you have the SB 89 ones, you have the ones that would be Riverfront District if we ever have one, we have the ones that would be for the historic downtown. So we just set out all of that criteria.
Yeah.
and whether we give those or not, different story. But I just think if you set the criteria, it will get some motion there a lot clearer. So I would love, in short, like I have every intention of writing that legislation. I think it would be really wonderful to have a discussion here to think about what that really should look like.
Like, what are the priorities?
Yeah, what are our priorities? Like, do we want local owned businesses? How are we going to determine all of those type of things? I think would be,
Yeah. So is that something that you would want to have us put on an agenda?
I would love that.
Again, okay.
I would love that.
For all of the things like that?
Mm-hmm. I think that's the best approach, but I might be wrong. I mean, but
I will say it makes me a little nervous just because I think the response to the discussions earlier on this year, or in 2025, the public was very leery of even having the conversations.
Right.
And so I think there's just a lot of education that needs to happen. So on one hand, I could see it as a good opportunity to air out that topic and provide some visibility into it. On the other hand, I think, well, if it's just for SB 89, maybe you just start with that. And
I think what's nice is that because SB 89 is it's happened, right? It gives the opportunity to say this is the impetus for which you do this, and so you have to build the governance capacity to do it. And so,
that's why you're the legislator.
But I just think it sets it in the right tone, so the conversation isn't like we're just trying to get all these alcohol permits out into the community. It's about we're thinking responsibly about one of the tools for economic development, and and we're thinking before we even have to do it, we're already making some rules so that everybody can contribute to making those rules.
Great. So that was all I had on SB 89, unless there's more on that one. I had one other item I just wanted to update you on. Is that okay to keep going?
Sure.
I wanted to let you know that David Hiddle, our planning director, is working on, there are a number of, I think, UDO updates in process, and of course, we're all concerned first and foremost about housing. But I did want to let you know that he's also working on what he's calling the small business omnibus updates to the UDO, and we think those will go forward maybe in the fall, early fall. He's doing business outreach now and talking to, I'm trying to connect him with businesses that have failed to start in Bloomington because of onerous UDO requirements.
Yes.
So sharing this with you in response to comments that you've made where we were talking about, something or other, and you were like, well, if you want to move the needle for Bloomington, you really got to focus on the UDO. So Dee and I are supporting that effort, but it's definitely being led and managed by planning.
Is the city utility involved in it?
I don't think so, but I'll take that note.
I think they're a significant part of the problem.
Who's a part of that?
The utility, CBU.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just made a note to share that feedback.
Do you also know the state of the permitting audit? Is that done, and will action be taken there? Because I think that's it's the speed to getting things approved often.
Yeah. I apologize. My recall is really bad. There was an update yesterday, and I think I was answering email, so I don't have the full update. But I know it's moving along, and I know I just heard that the county is moving to the same permitting and licensing system that the city uses, so we think that will just provide an efficiency and more transparency, so a positive development. But I can report back on the status of the audit. And that's it. Those were the items I just wanted to share. No actions.
Well, based on the items we talked about, it sounds like we have some things to do this year.
Yeah.
So maybe we will be meeting every month.
I do think this group could participate in David Hiddle's project. That's economic development.
Yes.
And so, I don't know how you want us to participate, but.
Well, if you assemble, then it's got to be in the form of a public meeting, but we
Right.
could invite him to a meeting, or you could,
I would like that.
Mhm.
I could, I could invite him to our next meeting. I could also connect you with him so you could schedule a one-on-one time.
I think it's a good idea, I'd do it.
Let's do
It's
some of that
interesting,
outreach.
there's
Tim,
a,
maybe you can do that before the next meeting and have him come
yeah,
You
I'm
can-
certainly
and you
willing.
can lead the,
I think it would be great.
There's a
conversation.
tie between this subject and your first subject about the tax reduction and the blight.
Mm-hmm.
You remember in that article that you talked about?
Mhm.
One of the property owners down there said that all they're doing is getting grief about the size of their landscape rocks.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's David Hiddle's department.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, and he's tracking that.
That was embarrassing.
Mm.
Right.
Well, there's always two or more sides to every story.
Well.
So Dave, so maybe you could talk to David before the meeting.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I'll send an email
Thank you.
And
Intro.
maybe Jane, you and I could talk with the
with Judy.
assessor.
Mm-hmm. I'd like that. Okay, great.
Thank you
It's
for all the
not-
work you're
I-
doing.
We'll let you off the hook.
Well, I'll work on this legislation because I really think, I mean, if I could get it before the next time, it'd be good to have that on the agenda too, just get comments on it.
So are you or somebody gonna work with Judy, Sharp?
Yeah, he's taking that.
Jane and I are gonna talk
Oh,
with
okay.
Judy and see if there's something the city and the county
Yeah.
can do together.
Good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is it
Okay, so
David
it's actually-
Hiddle?
I don't know,
The knowledge.
Yeah. she's-
Was that general discussion?
40 plus years.
I think so. Tax agency in the state
Oh,
for 4 years, so I need Judy back in those days.
yeah.
So I
It's
think,
exciting.
yeah, I think that was general discussion. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add a
Yes.
staff report item to our next agenda, so I can kind of just,
Is there hiring done? You done with the cycles of hiring?
no, but deep into the process, have concluded round one interviews for the special projects manager position. We had 103 applicants for that.
Jeez.
Wow.
Closed on Sunday night the assistant director for the arts position and had, I think, 53 applicants for that, but that's a narrower, it's a
Yeah.
pretty specific skill set. And
Is the special project was a part-time job or a full-time job?
full-time,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, maybe we should think about how we could, we need an administration person in council, so maybe we can cull through that and see if people are interested.
Oh, see who looks good from that. Well, there are a lot of
We'll
applicants that have more general administrative experience than this job is a lot of doing and art implementation.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good idea, is to put a regular staff report. The Indiana Finance Authority I serve on, at the end of each meeting, the finance director of the state gives a report. Sometimes it's just 2 or 3 words, sometimes it's more detailed, to sort of give you an idea what's brewing.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is, let's put old business before new business.
Got it.
Vanessa, you have anything you want to add? Okay. And we have,
It takes a minute to unmute, sorry. No, I don't have anything to add, thank you.
Thank you.
I tried.
we have a couple people in the
In the house?
in the house. Do you have anything you want to bring in front of before we?
I think to the point of everybody, what I just heard in my short time listening here, that this is where things start in regards to trying to rebuild some of our economic infrastructure that needs to occur in order to get our tax base and our wages up. Everybody needs to work collaboratively to do it within the city, the Economic Development Commissions, RDC, council, in order to build things up. Because when we hear the things that have happened in South Walnut, it drops our property taxes, it also drops what's able to be done for the community.
It drops our assessments.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it
It-
drops the
No,
property
it just
tax.
drops the assessment,
Yeah.
the budget line is still dispersed
Yeah.
amongst all the
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to
I'm
communicate.
sorry, that's a
Yeah.
professor meeting.
Yeah.
I teach this, so I want to make sure it's.
I appreciate that,
Sorry,
yes.
Randy.
No, it's good. What my communication I'm trying to emit is,
Yeah,
everybody needs to be building the boat.
right, because it affects everybody.
It affects all of
That's
us
right.
and how our reputation, how our view of our community statewide, internationally occurs. We want to be able to do that. So appreciate all you guys' work, and the discussions in the economic development is always important. And as a Professor Zorn, it's always busy.
It's not professional. And the other gentleman, did you have anything you want to add?
No, not this one.
Okay, okay. Well, anything else for the good of the cause? If not, we are adjourned.